Heidi, hi, Victoria, and good day, Phil.
Bruce, I don't know where you were at 20 to 8, but we had the most magnificent rainbow tonight in the eastern sky. It was absolutely so colourful. I've never seen it so bright.
Looking over the founder of Victoria, or Melbourne's home. What was his name? The founder of Melbourne?
You're talking about John Batman?
John Batman. His home is not very far from Media House.
Yes.
Just across the road, just across Spencer Street.
Still exists, yes?
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And there were a group of people taking a photo. And I thought, what are they taking a photo of? And it was the most wonderful rainbow.
I'm glad you saw it.
Above John Batman's house.
Oh, yes.
The site of John Batman's house.
How appropriate. Might be a good omen for all of us for the year ahead. Let's pray.
What do you mean?
Well, like portents of times to come. Like in civilizations gone by, they would look on a comet going across the sky as bad luck. They would look on that as a sign that there was going to be a war.
Right. So what would they think of a rainbow over John Batman's house?
Well, I would imagine that you'd feel gay and you'd feel happy. You'd feel bright and you'd feel uplifted and inspired and hopeful. That's what I believe.
Really,
Bruce.
not just looking at a rainbow and saying, "Oh, it's so pretty."
No. I love that song, the Rainbow Connection.
No, follow that through. So it's not just a matter of a pretty scene.
Well, you know, it depends on your superstition. But for some people, they might think, oh, it's going to be 7 years good luck.
So what did you see when you saw it tonight?
I thought, looked at my watch, thought, gee, it's time to go to work and talk it to Bruce.
What a waste of time.
Oh, no. Did you take a photo of it?
No.
Oh, yes, I know.
What with?
The rainbow. Oh, with your phone.
No.
Oh, yes. I've never seen a rainbow all the way from one side of the sky to the other. To the pot of gold, and so vivid in the sky. Ring up if you saw the rainbow and tell us what you thought of it. Well, that's the good news, because the sad news was losing David Bowie.
Well, I think we'll leave that a little later when people perhaps join us or rejoin us and can contribute.
Yes.
To the David Bowie years.
Yes, we're on digital at the moment.
I wasn't a great fan, I've got to admit. I mean, not necessarily of him, but just of that vogue, just of that music.
No, not particularly. Well, you're a different generation, but he did appeal to a lot of people.
What did you think?
Well, I rather liked some of his songs.
Oh, did you?
Some of his gentler material,
and
yes.
What were they?
Yes, Ma'am, Move Over Please. I always liked that one. I thought that was a pretty song.
Never heard Move Over Man.
And Is There Room in the Elevator? Did you like that one?
No, I've never heard that.
Oh, well, you've missed out on some...
Is There Room in the Elevator?
You've missed out on some wonderful tracks.
Very, very rare.
They are, yes. I don't know they were ever released commercially. But
they were never released?
I enjoyed them.
They were never released?
I enjoyed them on my...
They were bootlegged?
Oh, well, perhaps they were.
Move Over into the Elevator?
Yeah, yes, and Is There Room in the Elevator?
Oh, Is There Room in the Elevator? I beg your pardon about that.
I'll get you a copy of it, Bruce.
Where are you getting the bootlegs from? Totally illegal?
Oh, from Thailand. They're just $1 a copy.
Please.
Yes. I am supporting some poor family.
There are people who are living on Bowie.
Yeah, I'm supporting some poor family in Thailand.
You're not.
By throwing them $1 or $2.
No, you're not.
They can afford to go out and buy rice.
The poor devils haven't seen a rainbow in their lives yet.
What do you think about the new SkyTrain? I think it's a great idea.
Oh, do you?
Well, why not?
Oh, well, no, I'm going to retract that statement. I think building supermarkets, office blocks, accommodation underneath the track is very worthwhile. And it takes me back, or it reminds me of the city in the United States.
Well, certainly I can think of 3 cities with SkyTrains. New York is one, Chicago is another, certainly Toronto in Canada.
The one where Gene Hackman was the chief.
In the French Connection.
Yeah,
that was New York. That was on Manhattan. Yes, and of course in Berlin they have the S-Bahn above the ground. And in many cities of the world, monorails and what you can build underneath, it's only 2 stories, all the room in the world for car parks, which we desperately need.
Where do you get to the station?
Oh, well, there'll be elevators, there'll be lifts every so often.
So that's up there with the Skybus?
Oh, yes, and in Perth they have elevated track like this, and every couple of kilometres.
And you'd get into the elevator and say, "Move back, I'm Bowie."
Yeah, and you'd get up to the platform that way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, provision's been made for it, certainly in WA even. So,
Are we going to get a train at the airport first?
no, I don't think so. Or a train to Doncaster. When's that going to happen?
Strike me peak.
That's been talked about all my life. Welcome to our friends, Bruce, listening through 3NE and 2QN.
Yes, indeed. We welcome them very gratefully and thrilled with their company.
Yeah, and Jeff's first to ring in tonight digitally. Hello, Jeff.
Oh, g'day there, Bruce and Phil. Look,
Hi.
yeah, I've got a theory on that rainbow. I must say I never saw it, but you ever heard the term bushfire moon? You know, when there's smoke in the sky and it makes everything very vivid with the colours. And I thought with that big fire that's going on in the northern suburbs, isn't it? I wonder whether in the upper atmosphere there's smoke there, which is giving you that enhanced colour of rainbow, perhaps.
Yeah, good point. That's with the big tyre factory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just wondered about that. But on the other thing, when you're talking about the, you know, where the trains are going to go, and as you were both saying, they've talked about it forever, isn't it such a shame that they didn't, remember the old Outer Circular Railway there and things that we had that went out, you know, through East Kew, I think, and out that way?
Oh,
what a shame that was ever disbanded.
yes.
That would have been perfect.
I often think about that. That only really ran from 1891 to 1893.
Yeah, but you're right, Jeff. It was the planning for the future, which was never gone ahead with.
Yes, Jeff, a great tragedy. That
Yeah, it certainly is, guys. Anyway, good to listen to you on the digital. I'm driving a newer truck tonight, which has got a digital radio in, so I'm very fortunate.
Oh, great. What's on board, Jeff?
Just carrying mail and parcels, guys, the normal stuff. So, yep, I'll be doing that all night. So I'll pick you up now on digital and later on.
You don't shirk from work. You're on the job every night, Jeff.
No worries, guys. We'll keep listening and maybe talk later.
Yeah, bring us in an hour or so. Hey, this is a worry. There's a bloke who works here. I won't mention his name. In fact, he was panelling earlier, and I don't know his name.
No, go ahead.
But
yes.
as he left the building, he said, "Have a happy weekend." It's a bit early on a Monday to wish me a happy weekend, isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thought it was a bit weird on a Monday.
He could be a Sunni. Let's go to Cameron and Berry. G'day, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Oh, hello, Boss and Philip and Ken Aroon. He's reverted back again. It's a very sad about hearing. It's a bit of a shock, actually. I've got a couple of David Bowie, and you know, it's been quite a bad few months of people passing away. The Wayne Rogers, Trapper John from MASH, and Cilla Black, and Lynn Anderson, and Benny King, and B.B. King, and Natalie Cole. You know, all these people passed away in the last month or two. You know, it's been quite a sad period, hasn't it? But yeah, it's a bit of a shock to the system. Anyway, I've got a couple of instant quotes from I picked out the best ones. The first one is, "I'm instant star. Just add water and stir." That was the imaginative one. The other one was, "I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring."
All right.
Now that's quite chilling, isn't it? You know, when you look at it
My
in
word.
retrospect.
Yes.
Quite profound, yes.
Lovely.
Quite profound. That's the word I was looking for, Philip.
Yes.
And yes, it's Skytran, Skytan, and the first system was actually put into effect in Tel Aviv in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they planning it for? Are they planning it for Melbourne, are they?
Oh, yes, let's talk about it on the Cranbourne line, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there'll be two.
All the way from Caulfield to Cranbourne.
What they need is one to the airport. That's the most...
Obviously.
You know, that would obviously duplicating something that already exists. But, you know, the airport is probably the prime one, and Avalon will be the second airport. So they have one going up to Tullamarine, and have one going out to Avalon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are two passengers per pod, and it's like an upside-down monorail. The thing runs under the tracks, and which instead of over it. So Sydney had its monorail thing, and they knocked it down, didn't they, Boss?
They did, yes.
Which I found rather strange, because I was looking. I made a trip to Sydney, you know, like a year later. And I was quite annoyed because where's the thing gone?
We did exactly the same thing. We went there about 15 years ago and sailed everywhere around Sydney on that monorail. It was so convenient to get off and on and all the rest of it.
And just
go back 2 years later, gone.
Anyway, just $2 a trip, boss. That was fun. You could go around Darling Harbour and
Yes.
the casino and
Down to Maroubra.
yeah, it was and Glebe.
Yeah. There's a monorail in...
Forgetting Potts Point.
there's one on the Gold Coast these days.
Yeah.
Anyway, boys, hooroo and have a good night.
All right, Cameron.
All right, Cameron, always good to hear from you. Okay, mate, thank you. 18 minutes past 10 on Remember When. Steve at Greenvale, Phil.
Hi, Steve.
G'day, guys.
Yes.
You know that fire that's going on in Broadmeadow?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard it on many stations and TV stations, and they always refer to the northern suburbs. Every time something's happened down here, they don't really mention the suburb too often.
Uh-huh.
I've always found that a bit odd.
Yeah, they do that a lot, you're right.
Yeah, Bruce, like if there was a shooting in Carlton, there was a shooting in Carlton, wasn't there? But if there's something in Broadmeadows or Campbellfield, it's the northern suburbs. Being a newsman, Bruce, why would you think that would be?
I have no idea, but it seems in Sydney they do a lot with the northern beaches and out in the west and to the north of Sydney.
Do you think it's just a lack of effort for the reporters to bother to find the suburb?
No, I think it makes the place seem bigger. We're all a little bit like New Yorkish. Okay. Out to the north, the fire is raging.
I'm also stunned to hear about David Bowie. Loved a lot of his latest stuff. Modern Girl was my favourite. That got me dancing in the clubs. But did you know he actually shared the same birthday as Elvis Presley, which is probably not that uncommon. But did you know one of his pupils in his eyes was permanently dilated because he had a fight?
Meaning what?
Well, someone punched him in the eye and it became permanently dilated. They weren't never the same again.
Right, okay.
He had a fight with one of his friends when he was younger. So.
And you know, unusually, he had one blue eye and one brown eye.
Yep.
No, truly.
I don't know about that.
No, it's true.
No, we don't know about that.
Well, I'm sorry, I can authenticate.
Well, we don't know how to prove it.
But, guys, can I just finish up? I was sleeping last night and I woke up and it was about 3 a.m. and as I normally do, I tune in to 3AW overnight, and I think I was listening to... Who was hosting After Midnight again last night?
I think it was Alan Pearson.
That's right, yeah. Lovely man. It was about 3 a.m. and there was a woman, and I think her name was Jenny, and she sounded like she was around, I don't know, late 50s or 60, and she was having a terrible time, and she was talking about applying for so many jobs. She applied for hundreds of jobs, and she's got a disability, and she was so determined to work, and she'd been out of work for about 3 years, and I was so moved by her, and I'm pretty sure Alan was too, and she just said, look, you know, they don't want to give me work, I'm too old, or, you know, Centrelink suggested I apply for disability, and she goes, I don't want to go on disability, I don't want to be known as, you know, a disability person, I have a disability, but I want to work. And it was so inspiring listening to her. She can, you know, she was so determined to want to work. And
you know, it's familiar. She's rung us on occasions too, Steve.
Oh,
yeah, go on. Sure. Yeah, go on, Steve.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's the same one because I know I've spoken about it before, but she sounded a lot different. She was much more distraught and she was almost emotional, and Alan said, look, you know, keep your chin up and all that sort of thing. The point I'm making is, you know, with the news today in the paper about the government clamping down on, you know, couples on Centrelink benefits who are claiming when they shouldn't be claiming, here's a woman who should be inspiring people. This person doesn't want the dole. She doesn't want disability pension. She wants to work, and no one will give her a chance. I just think it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, so... if she's listening, I really hope you get somewhere, sweetie, and don't give up. You know, there is work out there. Just keep trying, and something will come.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good, Chris. Thank you very much, and for your compassion too of that caller.
It breaks your heart, doesn't it, to hear someone on there sort of reaching out and hurting so much.
Well, every night I'm hearing it from you.
Channel 9 and Channel 10 were all up in the air, and a few of them landed to do some of their reporting or to have breaks. You know, been up in the air so long, and I noticed the two Elvis-style skyclanes were getting possibly water, I think it's from the man-made lake near Sewell Reserve in Glenroy, just only about 300-400 metres south-east of where I am now. So, yeah, so it's been an eventful day. I was pretty crook about half an hour ago, but I feel a bit better now, but I've got to drink plenty of water. But then I've been taking a couple of Panamax here and there just to relieve this headache, but I just can't seem to shake it off, and it's probably from the toxic fumes. So, because even though I try to stay indoors all day, I did go outside a few times to see what the situation was with this fire, and whether we were going to get enough notice to evacuate. If that was the case, if it had turned out to set fire to the nearby scrub and the Seabrook Reserve, which is just 50 metres away from where I live, and I'm on the borderline of the big grasslands there too, so yeah, but all seems to be well now, but I'm hoping I can get rid of this headache in the next few hours.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't think that the smoking fumes from the fire, the tyres would help, would they, Phil?
And it's probably the tension, too, of all that's been happening in the noise, Chris.
Probably would be. Lois, good evening.
Hello, Bruce and Phil.
Yes, Lois.
I want to say thank you for your lovely card.
Pleasure.
I hope it cheered you up.
It did. And I'd like to tell you something, if you'd like to know.
Yeah.
You know I couldn't walk properly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the doctor told me when I was in hospital, I got to learn to walk. So I went outside the other day with John, and I'd done 50 steps.
Oh, good for you.
And 50 back.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, you might have to go to physio and learn to walk again.
Yep. Yeah. It's taken me a long time.
Yes.
But I'd done it, but my brother told me when he was alive, he said, come on, darling, you can do it. Do it for me. But I wouldn't do it. I said I was scared.
Yeah.
But I thought of him, and I thought, gee, I've got to keep myself going.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to die.
Of course.
And they told me in hospital, if I don't move, I will die.
Mm.
And I don't want to die, Brucey boy.
No, of course not, no.
So, that's what I've done, I hope.
Well, you have to do what you're told. At least you're home from hospital, and at least you're with John, and he loves you.
But very, most important, that just little tiny steps at a time. Don't be, trying to run a 4-minute mile or anything. Just there and back, and do that every day. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I can't do it every day.
No, I know, but I'm just saying when you do.
Yeah, I can't do it every day.
No.
Because I'm too puffy.
Well, you might even need a walker to lean on. Lois?
I have got a walker.
Yes.
You'll use that.
Good.
And, but that's what I've done, Phil.
Yes, well, you've stopped bleeding, you're out of hospital, you're home again for the new year, and it's a year full of promise and hope.
Yes,
Stop what?
She stopped bleeding.
I hope I can still ring you, boys.
Yes. Good to hear from you tonight too, Lois.
Yes, very reassuring, Bruce.
Easy steps, easy stages,
Yes.
just one step at a time.
You'll be a new woman before you know it, Lois. Reassured.
27 to 11, 3AW. 23 minutes to 11. I'd love some tributes to David Bowie and some memories and your thoughts of his ilk, if you like, and the image that he had in rock and roll in the years.
Yeah. Well, of course, there have been some unusual pairings through the years. There's been Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett and Sinatra and Barbra Streisand, but I think one of the most unusual was around the year 1975 when Bing Crosby was doing his annual Christmas special and invited David Bowie into his home, or it was purportedly his home for the TV special, not only to have a chat, but to sing a Christmas carol with him.
Hello. You the new butler? Well, it's been a long time since I've been the new anything.
What's happened to Hudson?
I guess he's changing.
Yeah, he does that a lot, doesn't he? I'm David Bowie. I live down the road.
Oh.
Sir Percival lets me use his piano when he's not around. He's not around, is he?
I can honestly say I haven't seen him, but come on in. Come in. But come on in.
Are you related to Sir Percival?
Well, distantly,
Oh, you're not the poor relation from America, right?
Gee, news sure travels fast, doesn't it? I'm Bing.
Oh, I'm pleased to meet you. You're the one that sings, right?
Well, right or wrong, I sing either way.
Oh, well, I sing too.
Oh, good. What kind of singing?
Well, mostly the contemporary stuff. Do you like modern music?
Oh, I think it's marvelous. Some of it really fine. But tell me, you ever listen to any of the older fellas?
Oh, yeah, sure. I like John Lennon and the other one with Harry Nilsson.
Ooh, you go back that far, huh?
Oh, yeah, I'm not as young as I look.
None of us is these days.
In fact, I've got a 6-year-old son, and he really gets excited around the Christmas holiday thing.
Do you go in for any of the traditional things in the Bowie household Christmas time?
Oh, yeah, most of them, really. Presents, tree, decorations, agents sliding down the chimney.
What?
I was just seeing if you're paying attention. Actually, our family do most of the things that other families do. We sing the same songs.
Do you?
I even have a go at White Christmas.
You too, huh?
And this one. This is my son's favourite. Do you know this one?
Oh, I do indeed. It's a lovely thing.
Well, it was quite beautiful, wasn't it? That was Bing Crosby and David Bowie.
Didn't their voices blend superbly?
Wonderful.
Yes. On the day that they were making the Christmas special, Bing was rather perturbed because David Bowie arrived for rehearsal wearing plaids, flares and tartans, and Bing thought, gee, what sort of a creep is this? And David Bowie, on the other hand, was very nervous at the thought of singing with Bing Crosby. But when they came to do it on the set, they blended beautifully.
Well, you could tell that they had respect for each other on the set.
Yes.
That they were professional and that they wanted to do a great job for each other and the audience.
Yes, I had a lump in my heart. I thought that was very, very special.
No, it was beautiful.
And there we are from a TV special of 1975.
And very rare and sort of, well, this time of year, appropriate to play with their tribute to Christmas.
Yes, yes. David, whoever thought
and sadly, both no longer with us.
Yeah, who would have imagined they'd ever do a duet together? But as you say, it really worked.
Yes, it did.
And I hope you enjoyed it at home. And
he'd be tough to work with, wouldn't he?
Bing, I think so, yeah.
Oh,
be a perfectionist, wouldn't he?
You'd come up after it. How'd I go? Let me be with you. I want to go home now, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. When Irving Berlin handed Crosby the song White Christmas, Irving Berlin was very excited. He said, "What do you think of it, Bing?" And Bing just, it'll be okay. It'll sell. It'll sell. So Bing was very sort of low key.
Oh, very low key. And slap across the jowl.
And never much praise.
17-11. Harold Sun.
And Kate McMahon is there.
Yes.
Hi, Kate.
G'day, Kate.
Hello, how are you guys?
Yes, what's on page 1, please?
Well, in tomorrow's Herald Sun, we pay tribute to the artist David Bowie. And I say artist because he really was a man across so many creative fields with music and acting on stage and on screen and mime and fashion, photography, art, writing, just truly an exceptional man, and he'll be very much missed. We've got reports, tributes and personal stories from people, including a very touching column from Molly Meldrum in tomorrow's paper. And on theheraldsun.com.au, there's a really great column from a guy called Bruce Butler, he lives in Melbourne, and he provided a lot of the Australian memorabilia for the David Bowie exhibit last year at Acme. Did you guys go to that? Or?
It was an enormous display. It was an expo last month at Federation Square. It ran for about a month, and it just filled Federation Square.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. So he tells some fantastic stories, including the night he got David Bowie, into the Coogee Bay Hotel by sneaking him into the Bottle-O. So apparently he just rang the hotel and said, "Does David Bowie want to come to a gig with me?" And he wasn't expecting a reply, but it sparked a real friendship. And they snuck him, his limo pulled up into the Bottle-O, and they got him in backstage. And it's a great story. So that's online now. And in tomorrow's paper, we also have a couple of other stories, including a new campaign to try and get people to stop locking children in hot cars, the latest on the toxic tyre fire, and all the frocks and shocks from the Golden Globes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'll be worth reading. Thanks, Kate.
Hey.
Good on you, Kate. In the Herald Sun tomorrow, a tribute to, well, among other things, David Bowie.
Yes.
11:15, 3AW, Phil.
And hello, Queenie.
Hello, Phil and Bruce.
Yes, Queenie.
And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. The little drummer boy.
Yes, was it?
And how Bill was right about them blending together.
Mm.
They were absolutely wonderful, and I don't know why they don't play it more around Christmas time.
Well, yes, it was from a TV special, that's why.
Yes.
Oh, was it? But couldn't they do that?
Well, they played it because David Bowie's just passed away a few hours ago.
Yes, I know that, but I think David Bowie, too, had an alter ego, Ziggy Stardust.
That's right.
And he, of course, dressed, with his bright, sparkly gowns and everything, and shoes and long socks and everything. And I thought he, quite a shock, really. I wasn't into his music, but I did love their voices together. I thought they were absolutely wonderful. And like Bing Crosby was so big in his day, wasn't he, boys? He was a great singer, long before rock and roll and Elvis came along. Big was the big man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he would have to be the Mick Jagger or Paul McCartney of that era, wouldn't he?
That's right, he was. And I met his brother.
Bob.
Yes, I met his brother, Bob, and he was a lovely man.
He was.
And I asked him, actually, we were all at the same house, and the lady cooked them tea before they went on to the Tivoli. And I had, what they have? Bacon, eggs and tomatoes, onions.
I love it.
Oh, that was late for them, but they had to go back to the Tiv. You see, him and his trumpeter. And he said Bing would never fly anywhere, not out to Australia, because he didn't like flying.
No.
He did go to England, but that's not as far as Australia. But he said he was really not keen on the old planes.
No.
And by the way, Phil, I saw an investigation of a plane that dropped out of the sky, and they found out 2 years later, they found the black box, and this plane was absolutely could do anything, and they cannot find out. Oh, well, they've found out now what happened to it. Oh, it was absolutely fascinating. The man that was talking about it, he knew what he was talking about.
Well, it's the black box, isn't it, Phil? That's the recorder, isn't it?
Yeah, two things. It gives you all the cockpit conversation and also the dynamics of what was happening in the plane.
Okay, Queenie, thank you. You and all of us enjoyed that little drummer boy, wasn't it?
That was a carol. That was the carol.
Colleen at Mornington, good evening.
Boys, it's just a thing on Bing Crosby. I read Eddie Fisher's book, right?
Yes.
And he reckons Bing Crosby, quote unquote, peed up tubes.
Oh, well, I think that's a bit cruel. He was a tough man.
No, this is what Eddie Fisher said. Now, you can only go on what people say
go on.
in their books. And I've only heard, like, Edith heard, she's a dresser in Hollywood in the heyday, and Bing Crosby wouldn't come to any of the fittings. He's more comfortable, which is fair enough, in his golfing gear. But when he did all the road movies, he would not participate. He was a very difficult man.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, very difficult. And, I mean, as I said, I didn't know what Eddie Fisher said. He went to shake his hand and talk to him at the Brown Derby, and he said, oh, it's awful.
Oh, cold shoulder stuff.
Yeah. I'm not saying you don't know. No. I'm not saying that, but that's what Eddie Fisher said about he peed ice cubes.
Oh, well, I hope not on Eddie's shoes.
I think Eddie Fisher just liked saying it, and I think Bill enjoyed doing it.
I think Colleen loves repeating it.
Okay, Colleen, thank you. Sahara, good evening.
Oh, hello, how are you?
Yeah. Would you like to pay a tribute to David Bowie?
What's doing, Sahara?
Yeah, well, I recorded a bit of Major Tom.
Yeah.
That song.
Oh, yes.
When I didn't actually meet David Bowie, but I met Mick Jagger.
Oh, did you?
How come?
Yeah, I went to his limousines.
All right, yes.
When he was here with his band.
Right.
He was in Melbourne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Adelaide and that.
That's right.
He was touring here.
Oh, good. What did he say to you?
Oh, I knew the promoters that brought him over.
Yeah, but what did he say to you? You said you met him.
Oh, he was very entertained by me. I was there with a friend of mine, and we were down in Adelaide and Melbourne, and we met them, and he said, would you like to come to the show and all that? And I said, yes, that'd be nice.
Ah,
good.
And then he invited us in the limousines, and we met the other one, Keith Richards, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
What's doing tonight, Sahara? What's doing?
We were invited to they had a big party.
Yeah, oh, yes. I hope he behaved himself.
It was very nice. He's not conceited as people believe he is.
No.
You know, a lot of people think he's conceited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not that conceited. He's pretty down to earth, you know.
Oh, that's good to know.
It sounded very nice.
Do you have a song for us?
Well, I thought I might put a little bit of the Major Tom song.
Oh, good. Very appropriate.
And I've actually recorded it, so...
Oh.
I just wanted to say that also those people who have it hard with a disability to try to, you know, actually find work, it is very hard for them.
Yeah. All right, Major Tom.
Okay. I'll play it now.
When the bulk of our friends are with us after the cricket, we will pay tribute to David Bowie, the David Bowie years, his music, the people who worked alongside him, the people he replaced in the music scene.
Yes, perhaps you went to one of his concerts. Perhaps you saw his exhibition at Federation Square last year. Perhaps you had some personal contact with him, and you'd like to share the memory with us tonight on Nightline.
Many concerts in Melbourne?
This is John Doremus with a passing parade of the story of a patriotic pest who plagued Buckingham Palace. He was a London chimney sweep with a burning ambition to see inside the palace. His exploits of the royal household were to make him a national figure and earn for him the nickname In I Go Jones. I'll be back after this message. The son of a respectable London tailor, Edward Jones was born in 1825. He received a good education for the times and at an early age developed a passionate interest in the royal family. Early in 1838, when he was 14, he was apprenticed to a chimney sweep named Griffiths. To his employer, he talked of nothing else but the Queen and the possibility of seeing inside the palace. He first realized his ambition the following December, when he was caught by a footman creeping along a corridor of Buckingham Palace at 5 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't known how long he had been there. Jones himself refused to say. How he got in was even more of a mystery. The entrances of the palace were constantly guarded by 2 police inspectors, 10 constables, and 30 sentries of the foot guards. On December 19th, Jones was tried at Westminster Sessions. His father retained counsel, who successfully pleaded that the incident was no more than a youthful prank. In I Go Jones, as he was soon to become known throughout the country, was found not guilty. He returned home a national celebrity. 2 years went by. How many times Jones surreptitiously entered the palace during that period is anyone's guess, for he was not caught at it again until December 3rd, 1840. At midnight on that date, he was found skulking under a sofa in Queen Victoria's dressing room, on which the Queen had been sitting only a short time before. On this occasion, the case was considered too important to be dealt with in the usual law courts, and In I Go Jones was hauled before the Privy Council. He maintained that he had been in the palace 4 days, and had actually sat on the throne. The council sentenced him to 3 months' imprisonment as a rogue and a vagabond. From the official point of view, the affair was regarded seriously. If a youth could walk into Buckingham Palace when he liked, so might an assassin. The result was increased precautions. The necessity for vigilance was drilled into the sentries, and the police patrol inside the palace was doubled. On his release, Jones was handed over to his parents with strict instructions that they were to watch him carefully and be responsible for his future good behavior. But the lure of royalty proved too strong for Jones. And early on the morning of March 15th, 1841, just 12 days after his release, he was apprehended by a police sergeant in the Palace Grand Hall. The Privy Council sentenced him to another 3 months, this time with hard labor. When he was released, a squad of detectives followed him everywhere. Then, suddenly and mysteriously, Inigo Jones disappeared, never to be seen or heard of again. What really happened to him remains a mystery. Our time is up till we meet again for another chapter in the Passing Parade. This is John Doremus. As always, thank you so much, and goodbye for now.
Good day, Stephen.
Yeah, good evening, Bruce and Phil.
Hi. Yeah, not a bad day. Quite a warm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all over the place today. It was quite warm for most of the day. Got up to 36.4 just before 3 o'clock. We'll get some cloud after that, and we had a weak change come through around 4 o'clock, and we've had about a millimetre in most of the suburbs as well, just with that little band of rain that went through.
Yeah, that was very refreshing. The overnight lows, Stephen, how's it looking?
We're sitting on about 20 now. It is reasonably humid though, so it's only going to drop to about 17. And tomorrow should be a fairly nice day. A bit of cloud in the morning, and then a mostly sunny afternoon, getting up to 24 with some southerly winds.
Oh, good. What's the top?
24.
Oh, right. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. A bit warmer in the suburbs as well. So
yeah,
29
good.
And even 31 out in the Yarra Valley.
More of the same on Wednesday, perhaps?
No. Back to hot weather on Wednesday. So it's a mixed bag this week. So I've got a reasonably cool day tomorrow. And then Wednesday's going to be a scorcher, 41.
Right.
I'll let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah, that sunk in. All right, thanks.
So 41 with a late change in the evening, and then back to 20 degrees on Thursday. So some cool weather later in the week, but a hot day to get through.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, mate, let that just be a warning for you on Wednesday, 41 degrees. Just batten down the hatches. Remember the pets. Remember children and elderly, and particularly in cars, and neighbours, and just the general warnings on disastrous days that Wednesday's going to be.
If you'd made plans to go out, maybe change your plans and stay indoors.
Now, well, yeah, I suppose. 11, 3AW. David Bowie's passing. The last big expo, I recall, was only last month at Federation Square, and one of the most successful that the Square has ever put on. It was dedicated to the David Bowie years, the costumes, the records, his promotion, his life story. He was one of the first performers who moved to glam rock. Before this, there was the safety of Peter and Gordon and the Mamas and the Papas and Paul Anka, Wayne Newton, Jerry and the Pacemakers and Herman's Hermits. After that came, well, T-Rex and Gary Glitter and The Who and Spandau Ballet and Boy George. A whole new look at this glam rock, almost well, there wasn't even a female-male look, was there?
No, it was almost a sort of a unisex, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was weird. And there were others too, like Donovan Leitch and Keith West. All, you know, a bit on the fringe, weren't they?
Yes, they were. And not to say that they weren't successful. I didn't particularly like it that much because I was, well, we came out of the Perry Como years, didn't we?
Yes, and Johnny Mathis, yes. Yes, we did.
But that was the whole new look, wasn't it? Jimi Hendrix was a little bit wild, a little bit like that.
Yes, he was, yes. Yeah, and Janis Joplin was another.
Yeah.
Yes, they were far out, weren't they?
I suppose it was the psychedelic, it was the San Francisco hippies, the 60s, all that change of mood that was happening in the world, and we're all getting swung along with it, whether we liked it or not.
And many of them, often because of drugs, died too young.
When you're in San Francisco, wear flowers in your hair.
That's right.
And it was sort of that trend, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Haight-Ashbury years in the mid-60s.
Yes.
I know, yes.
Not a necessarily likeable time, was it?
No, and you had protest singers like Joan Baez during the Vietnam War.
Yes.
Didn't you?
There was the flower power, the flower on their jeans.
Yes. Scott McKenzie sang a song. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear a flower in your hair.
So there were just a myriad of those songs.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? What are your memories of David Bowie and that era?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perhaps you saw him perform live. You might like to tell us.
It was the Vietnam War, if we look at the headlines of that era.
All the protest songs, yes. And you had the assassination of JFK, you had the Bay of
The
Pigs.
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes, it was a time of great conflict and uncertainty in the
Of
world.
Martin Luther King, where black rights were being recognised for the very first time.
Yes.
And people, the black community was given a voice.
Yes, the Selma March, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
A marvellous film made recently. I saw it earlier this year.
Yes. It was a time of change and a time of revolution to an extent, especially among young people. They wanted to, it was a sexual revolution too, a time of promiscuity.
Yes, it was. It was the birth of Woodstock, as you recall, the open-air festival where everyone went to Woodstock to wear flowers in their hair. And we had one down here, didn't we, Sunbury?
Yes, we did. The start of promiscuous movies and stage shows and art of all kinds, where people really let their hair down, didn't they?
Yes, and if you look back, I suppose, on the annals of time and history, you go back to the 60s, and that was the movement, that was the change that we're all not experiencing now, but just feeling the effect of even now.
Yeah, I think the word was protest. People sort of stood up and demanded their rights.
The Vietnam War. Remember, Melbourne was ground to a halt with
the moratorium.
Remember Jim Cairns and all that crowd?
Junie Morosi and all those people.
Interesting, well, not necessarily interesting, but differing times.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yes.
As Bob Dylan said, the times they are changing. And they were, weren't they?
Yes.
So tell us your experience, folks, from that era, if you're old enough.
Yeah, or just the changing times that you saw, the groups, the fashion.
Yeah, it was it was a long way, wasn't it, from Jerry and the Pacemakers or Freddie and the Dreamers?
It was miles away, the other side of the moon and beyond.
Herman's Hermits.
It was beyond the moon and the other side.
Yeah, suddenly they're very out of style, weren't they, Bruce? Okay, folks, now it's your turn.
Let's go to Rob, the Malvern tram driver. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, guys. I am lamenting my favourite music artist passing away. I have every one of his records and CDs, even a record he produced before he was actually David Bowie, when he was David Jones, called Rubber Band. Everything, and even the latest one I've got on order, and hopefully I'll have it by the end of the week. But yeah, I followed him. I found him to be growing up because he sort of like matured, going from folk rock through to Ziggy Stardust, and then he was the Thin White Duke. I mean, I must have known something. I even was playing a CD last night when I was working here out in the shed after you guys had finished, and I've got his DVD of his of the movie he produced as the Alien, Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh yes,
and all of his music. I mean, everything from Diamond Dogs, Hunky Dory, the song that he gave to Mick Jagger, which was Angie, which was actually about. He wrote it himself about his breakup with his wife, that he loved her terribly, but they went their separate ways, and he never was able to put it to music. He gave it to Mick Jagger to sing it.
Was that Angie Baby, wasn't it?
No, Angie.
Oh, just Angie. Yes, okay. Well, you must have known something last night, Rob, to be sitting in the tool shed listening to the latest David B album that you have in your collection.
It's quite prophetic.
Very much so. 11:15.
Yes.
Annie at Armidale, good evening.
Oh, good evening, Bruce and Phil. Thinking of David Bowie, when I was first married, early 80s, I had no idea who David Bowie was, and I loved the Moody Blues. My husband adored David Bowie, and we struck up a deal that I would go to see Bowie, and he would come with me at a later time to see the Moodies. Anyway, David Bowie was playing out at Waverley Park. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
It was an outdoor concert at Waverley Park. Well, very thing at the time. And we drove out to Waverley, as you do, no transport. We packed eskies. We had some friends with us. Packed eskies with various drinks, probably alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and sandwiches, chicken. Got to the entrance, and we were told we couldn't take any of our Eskies in. I thought, oh, this is a good start to a concert by some bloke I've never really heard of.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got in there. Great seats. The concert started with David Bowie, and I couldn't believe it. Every single song he sang, I would turn either to my husband or his best friend and say, I didn't know Bowie sang that. It was absolutely magnificent. I just didn't know what he had done. And he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so he won you over, didn't he?
Oh, from that day on, absolutely magnificent. I mean, I was in my, early 20s, mid-20s, and I knew Major Tom, but he sang song after song, and it was just fabulous. And I'm so grateful for being dragged out to Waverley Park to hear that and appreciate what David Bowie could do.
Yes, of course.
And the tragedy of the entire thing was a few months later the Moody Blues were here, which my husband agreed to go with me.
Yes.
And it was at the old swimming pool, whatever it's called, opposite Rod Laver.
Yeah, the Glass House, I think it was.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. The acoustics were appalling and the Moody Blues were shocking.
Oh, what a disappointment, oh.
But at least I had got to learn, hear and appreciate David Bowie, and it was wonderful.
And so,
that's great.
Did you have to eat all your sandwiches before you went inside, did you?
Yeah, we did. Well, we either ate them or we left them. I think we ate a few, smuggled a few, and that was it.
All right, good story, Annie. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Hey, Elaine at North Williamstown.
It's Lorraine, Bruce. I haven't rang for a while.
Okay, sorry, Lorraine. Welcome.
Oh, that's all right. I know I've just had a bit of a bad day today.
Oh.
I had to take my old cat to the vet, and we had to... Well, she passed away.
Oh, breaks your heart.
No, she was 18, she was.
Yeah.
Gee, that's
18 years old she was.
That's a remarkable age, isn't it?
We're so sorry.
I want to tell you something.
Remarkable age.
Yes, that's true. She was a lovely cat. I was awake all night with the last knock. She had all holding her mouth and that, but you can't let the animals suffer. On the 24th of December, well, she's sitting there eating an ice cream. I was holding it, she was eating it.
Yes.
And 3 weeks after she passed away, but she had a good life with us.
Yes.
So she's buried in the front. And we all my grandchildren said a little prayer for her, because they've grown up with her.
Yes, they would have. All right, well, our thoughts are with you in a very sad time, Lorraine, for you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it with us, Lorraine.
Good night to you. A low of 17 degrees. Looking at the weather, overnight 17 degrees. Tuesday's weather, cloudy, sunny afternoon. A high of 24. It'll be quite a mild day, but beware. Wednesday looms, 41 degrees, with a change on the way.
Thank goodness for that. Back to 20 on Thursday.
Oh, yes, that'll be very welcome. Michael at Carrum, good evening.
Good evening, Bruce and Phil. How
Yes.
are you?
G'day, Michael.
G'day, mate. Gentlemen, I was just wondering, perhaps you might know, or if not, your listeners, how do you obtain an American free ticket?
I don't know if you're allowed to, are you?
Is that right?
Well, I don't know the rules. Okay, why don't you do this tomorrow, Michael? Ring the American consulate down in Queen's Road, South Melbourne, and get their advice.
I'll do that.
Yeah, the American US consulate.
All right, Michael, good luck. Sandra at Ferntree Gully.
Good evening, boys.
Hi.
Yes, Sandra.
I'm just ringing. This is ironic that you've brought this subject up, because yesterday I was going through some cupboards with my 8-year-old grandson, and we came across all my old records from the 50s, 60s, 70s. He just said, "What are they, Nana?" And I said, "They're called records." And it was just ironic, because all the music, how it's, I just loved all the bands, from Australian bands, from there was Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs, right through Easy Beats, and then coming up into the 70s, you had Sherbet, you had Skyhawks. I had all collection of the Beach Boys, Queen, and I said to him, "You know that song you love called We Are the Champions?" And he said, yes. I said, "Well, that's who sang it." Did they? So he was absolutely fascinated. So we put some of the music on. He'd never seen that before. He was just absolutely fascinated. And I think, you know, the era, the music that I grew up with, like 50s, 60s, 70s, there's just no comparison to now. There's just... The lyrics are not... There's no lyrics to songs. There's no beat. There's nothing. It's just... We were very lucky in the music, and you would have, like you say, working in radio back then, Bruce, you would have, you know, the music was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was so different. Oh, yes.
Oh, you could at least sing and dance to it.
That's
now
right. That's right.
Now you need subtitles. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it's just noise today, isn't it?
Oh, it is. But no, it's just ironic because he loves music anyway, but they listen to it on an MP3 player now. They don't.
Oh, of course they would, yes, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just lovely going through all my old, and we had a lovely, memorable day doing all that.
Oh, how lovely. Great to share with him.
It is. It's wonderful.
By the way, out of interest to you, Sandra, I was at the Salvation Army shop today, their headquarters in Abbotsford, down near the river, and they have a huge selection of the old vinyl LPs, and then they're all about $1 each.
Really?
Yes, you should drop in there sometime.
What do you play? What do you play them on?
Oh, you can very easily buy a record player these days.
Yes, yeah, that's wonderful. I love going through them.
Yeah, I like reading the notes on the covers too.
Okay,
don't
Sandra,
you?
hold on, we'll get you a pancake parlour voucher.
Thank you so much.
Would you love that?
Thank you. He will love that.
Take the grandson.
I will.
It's open 24 hours at High Point, Doncaster and Malvern East.
Thank you.
Okay, just hold on for Ken. He might be a minute or so.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, love. Sally at Murrumbina.
Hi, guys. I used to be one of Red Janet's old boilers a long time ago, and I had the monkeys.
The monkeys.
Right.
Remember them?
Yes, and I have on the old ANZF ANA envelope, I have all their autographs.
Yes.
And they're amazing. And Phyllis Diller,
Oh.
who's on in 69, and she said to me, Sally, you should, with it, you know, the little bottle of alcohol that were in glass, and she said, you must protect all these or save these because eventually they're going to be plastic, and she was so right.
Yes, she was.
She was. And Barry Humphries, he was another really great friend.
Yes, of
I did
course.
a lot of flights on Sunday mornings to Sydney, and when he wasn't having a very good time, and he used to ask me, did I have any jokes? And I said, not really, not the ones as good as you had, but I think I did tell him a few. But
Yes.
He was just an amazing person, and it was great. I flew for 5 years with them, and we had the best time, and all the girls I still keep up with, and I just thought I'd let you know that. We've met so many.
Were you with Ansett? Were you, Sally?
Yes, Ansett. Yes.
That was
1968.
in that era. Susan Jones was introduced by John Farnham.
Yes, that's right. Well, I knew John Farnham and Darryl Samble, who was his manager back then. He came from because I came from Kapunda in South Australia.
Yes.
And so we knew each other, and often they would drive me from the airport up to where I lived in South Yarra with some other girls, and we've been to quite a few little parties with John Farnham. That was in the way back then, and we knew him, and it was just so amazing, and I just thought I'd let you know.
See how good your memory is. What was the name? I think she was the first female pilot for Ansett. Do you remember her name, Sally?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
See if this jogs your memory. Deborah Wardley.
Yeah, I know. You know, at the moment I'm 60-something.
Yeah.
My memory isn't fresh.
Anyway, Deborah Wardley was her name. She was the first of the female hostess, the pilots.
Yeah, great story, Sally. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce is the name. Sally, good night. Mark at Bundoora, good evening.
Yes, good evening, boys. How are we?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mark.
Yes, good. I just wanted to say, look, I went down to Eastland on the weekend. Just wanted to say to Richard Smith and his store, otherwise known as Dick Smith, just to hang in there. Boys, do you remember the store Brushes?
Yeah.
Yes, very well, yes.
Yeah, Brushes. No, I bought my first cassette tape there. It was Whispering Jack by Tom Farnham.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good memory, that one. But the New Year's going well. Off to a bit of a good start. The M&S account's doing okay. I just wanted to quickly say, if I came to Maddie on a cruise, Jason in Sale and Anthony in Doncaster, and of course Maddie in North Balwyn. And our friend this year, some good news, he's getting married, Simon. Simon, he's the brother of Daniel from Retrovision, Danby.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, busy year for you all, Mark.
You've
Thank
got
you.
a lot of friends.
Thank you. 17 tonight. Karen, good evening at Sunshine.
Hi, Bruce and Phil.
Yeah, g'day, Karen.
Yeah, good to hear Sam Stokes is through on another. She beat that Italian lady who was finalist in the United States Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good feat for her. Now, with David Bowie, I know his Space Odyssey record, but I'm not really very familiar with many of his records, but I'm sad to hear that he died, and I know he had a lot of hits, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I've got a lot of old records too, like the Shadows, Cliff Richard and the Shadows, Beach Boys, all vinyl records, John Farnham, all his old records, you know, Johnny Burns, and goes on and on, you know. And I haven't got a record player to play them.
Oh, yeah, they're so easy to buy these days, Karen, and so cheap.
Yeah, I have to get one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
Okay, Karen, thank you very much. Caught to 12. The Bowie years, the 1960s. What are your memories? Were you working at that time? What were the fashions at the time? What were you reading? What was the music? What were the movies you went to see in the 1960s? Surely there's a classic or two that looms in your life.
Yes, share it with us. The 60s was an era of change, as we discussed, an era of revolution to an extent.
What was that horrible film with Mia Farrow, Rosemary's Baby? Wasn't that big in the 1960s?
Yes, horrible movies around.
Shocking film.
Yes.
Yeah, there were some vile films in the 1960s.
All sorts of scary movies like Poltergeist.
Yes.
And, Amityville Horror.
The girl who twisted her head around and was sick all the time.
Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Exorcist, yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The father-in-law.
The stepfather, yes.
Stepfather.
Scary. Oh, yes. Quite sadistic, some of those movies, weren't they?
Nasty.
Yeah, nasty's the word. Yes, they should never have been made.
From the beauty of the 1950s into this vile 1960s.
Yes, we lost our innocence overnight, didn't we?
Oh, we did.
Yes, unfortunately, and we've never regained it. And that was the start of the drug culture in America too.
I think it must have been, yeah, it probably was. And wasn't it the R certificate came into movies at that time?
Yes, you had to be 18.
There was a Dustin Hoffman film, a Western, that was the first R film.
I'll tell you the name of it, McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first time, and you had to be 18 to go and see it. And it was a time of promiscuous theatre like Hair and No Calcutta. And everyone taking their clothes off.
That's right.
Morals went out the window, didn't they?
Well, yes. They were challenged, weren't they?
Yeah.
Not necessarily out the window. You're very weak if that was the case. But if you held fast, you were all right.
I think it was a time when people turned away from God and church. Perhaps never came back again after that.
So let's... Sorry for the dismal picture that we're painting of the 1960s.
Yeah, we can't blame David Bowie for it, but it was the era of the Beatles too, and long hair, and you know, we all sort of were rebels to an extent, weren't we?
I think we rebelled. The whole world rebelled.
Yes, we did. Yes,
it was Mum and Dad's law of the land. For the very first time in history, saying it doesn't matter anymore. Mum, you're wrong. Dad, you're wrong.
That's right, yes. And we're all leaving home and, you know, living with partners for the first time in de facto relationships. And, you know, it was the end of the moral era that we knew, the Victorian era.
Totally different.
Of our grandparents.
Totally different.
Would you like to agree with us or disagree with us?
Or just sit there in that easy chair and lethargically belch.
Yeah, it's very easy just to sit back and be entertained by Bruce and Phil.
Indeed it is.
But we want you to contribute.
And you've done nothing.
No, we don't have a show if we don't get phone calls. And that's our charter, to talk to you. It's a talkback radio station. Bruce and I don't want to talk to each other for an hour.
Heaven knows 5 minutes is enough.
96900 693. You might even win a prize. That shouldn't be the incentive.
No.
But surely, and if you don't want to talk about David Bowie, talk about the high-rise trains. Did you see the rainbow earlier tonight?
Ring in and tell us about Benny Lum.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just get off your
hind quarters.
Just entertain us for a change. If you've never rung a talkback program, now's your chance.
Wow,
Yeah.
what an opportunity.
Yeah. Don't be passive, be active. Come on.
Shut up.
Yeah.
96900 693.
It's happened, Bruce. We've had a reaction.
Here's Colin Phil.
Yes, what's your story, Colin?
Oh, those movies you mentioned, The Exorcist and the Texas Massacre, they're all from the 70s. They're not the 60s.
No, well, that might be true, but we're talking about the change that was happening through the 60s.
I agree with you. All the morals went out in the 60s. They were called the swinging 60s.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so, but I actually liked those times, because I'm not happy with the way the world is today.
Okay.
No, I don't think anyone is.
And what about you in the 60s? Were you still at school then?
I'm 51. I was 6 years old in 1970.
Okay.
So I actually remember primary school. I remember grade 1. Grandmother used to come to school and give me 20 cents.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money, 20 cents. You could buy a sausage roll and...
yeah, that was your pocket money, yeah.
Sausage roll for lunch, that'd be great. Okay, Cole, thanks. Brian and Berwick, good evening.
Yes, hello, Bruce and Phil. How are you?
Oh, you got a great voice, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, old English style. Yeah, I've turned 60 now, and I remember a lot of films from the 60s. When you said Dustin Hoffman, I always remember Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, wasn't that good?
With John Voight.
John Voight, yeah, and that was special for me because I just met this girl. She was an au pair girl from Sweden.
Oh.
And that was very special. You know, but yeah. Anyway, talking about memories of music, I was in a rock band in England, you know, in my hometown, Chester.
Uh-huh.
And one night, promoter said, "Right, lads, you're fronting a band tonight, Thin Lizzy."
Oh,
so we went, okay. So, yeah, and talking about, you know, sadly David Bowie died, but, and also now, Phil Lynott, the lead singer of Thin Lizzy, he's gone.
Yes.
And Gary Moore, the guitarist, he's gone.
Goodness, that's sad.
And, yeah, luckily we after our gig we went down and we met Phil Lynott and Gary Moore and all the lads and all that, and a few like scented sort of cigarettes and all that. But
yes. So, Brian, watch yourself.
You know, as we touch, we leave our identity. Oh, please, wherever I go today, please help me leave heart prints of compassion, of understanding and love, heart prints of kindness and genuine concern. May my heart touch a lonely neighbor, or a runaway daughter, or anxious mother, or perhaps a dear friend. I shall go out today to leave heart prints, and if someone should say, "I felt your touch," may that one sense be your love touching through me.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
Well, now, unfortunately, the song has frozen, so I might have to sing Midnight and the Stars and You, Midnight and a Rendezvous, Midnight, do you see me calling? I know my singing is appalling, but I'm singing just for you, Bruce.
Put a sock in it, Phil. We've had a lot of fun. Thank you for your company, kids. I've really enjoyed it. On a sad day with the passing of David Bowie.
Yeah, what a shock.
The sun will come up tomorrow. Alan Pearsall will be here as the days or the rays of a brand new day permeate across the nation, and a brand new day is born.
And we'll be back tonight. It's been great fun tonight. Thanks, Bruce, and thanks, Ken.
Indeed, it will. And good night, Samuel, Carter, Amelia and Emily, Charlotte, Sweet Ella Grace, little William Oliver and Sophia Grace. I'm Bruce Mansfield.
And I'm Philip Bora. I hope you're behaving yourself.
And we're back tomorrow night at 10 for a very special edition of the, Tuesday Nightline, Phil.
Yeah, back to sleep, Tweety, please.
Oh,
I want some peace when I get home.
Oh, so do I. And that's the way she went today.